I'm here with Barry Lederman from SoftEngine, and SoftEngine are focused on providing solutions for the food and apparel industries. Now you might be thinking, wow, food and apparel, very different things. Barry, tell us a little bit about SoftEngine and what your solutions are about.
Great. So we started around 8 years ago, and we went through the process of selecting a software system, and we're looking something not just for us, but what can we use as a flexible platform that we can address different industries. And that's how we settled on SAP Business One.
Okay.
So we developed over the years, we call them templates. Sometimes we call them like plugging Legos in, because things do repeat in certain industries. But we got very good in food and apparel. So those are our main thrusts that we focus on. And somehow they both address the same problem called inventory.
Okay.
In many different ways, but that's the most common question that we being asked, can you help me with inventory?
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the apparel side first.
Great.
What is the business problem that you're addressing with your apparel solution?
Well, the industry is always faced with seasons and meaning delivery on time. So there's some penalties called cancellation dates. So the key question, obviously, to answer is what do I have available to sell? And the system really answers that because, as we know, a lot of industry moved offshore. So there is a product that's being made outside. There is product on water. And the salespeople really have to know what they can promise to the customer. And that's what we address.
Okay, so you handle that core functionality,
Right.
but as well as that, you handle the matrix-based invoicing, style,
All
size,
of that
color,
all of that
those
has
things.
to be, and obviously integrated to a warehouse management system, to e-commerce system, and to EDI. All of that because they sell to some very large chains.
Right.
And they must have EDI. They have smaller boutiques. They have to enter orders through e-commerce systems. And many times they brand it also through e-commerce.
Okay, so then that addresses the apparel side of things. Tell me a little bit about the food solutions. I mean, are you focused on food manufacturing or distribution? And
Actually, the entire supply chain. So from growers all the way to retail. So we have production, we have distribution. And here inventory is also a key because there is something called expiration dates.
Yes.
And there is traceability. And we all heard about issues, obviously, in the food industry. What happens when you have a recall? In the U.S., you have the FDA regulations. In seconds, they can see what ingredients they bought and from who and what products were made and who bought them.
Right.
So that's a very key thing. And then all the other things that go with it. Warehouse management system also has to be addressed. Routing, many times hooking also to EDI systems and also e-commerce systems.
Okay. So all that integration into the e-commerce and EDI is something that you deliver as a standard part of your solution?
Those are all options. Sometimes they don't get turned down in phase one. Sometimes they do. But all of that must be there.
Okay, so you talk about, phase one, phase two. If I decided that I wanted to purchase a solution from SoftEngine, how would that implementation process work? Take me through that.
Sure, and it actually starts in the sales process where we actually spend a day, we call them day in our life. We sell really consultative type selling,
Okay.
So we look at the entire operation, then devise a budget based what, obviously the customer can handle. And staffing is important also. Sometimes a client would like to have everything on day one. It's not possible. So we divide phases, work with them on the budget, and basically then the implementation will start.
Right. And so everybody's always focused on return on investment. Thinking about the customers who've implemented your systems in the past, what's the return on investment profile look like? I mean, is it, they get the return on their investment in the first year, 2 years? How does that work?
It happens actually very quickly. I'm still using a very nice tool called the Shark.
Okay.
That's that was developed in the UK. And it's interesting to show clients how just a small percentage change in the order size, for example, what it does to the bottom line. I mean, it starts paying for itself within a few months. It's really incredible. Also having an e-commerce system. We all understand how Amazon sells. If you bought this, some others also bought that.
Right.
It's all turns to increasing the order size. So it works really well. The other thing is actually automation. How can we increase the throughput, of a company without adding sales? Staffing, both in the warehouse or sales.
Yeah. That kind of leads into the next question I had, which was, we've talked about some of that core functionality, the core things that every organization needs. Are there additional value add components that come from a soft engine solution that I might not get from other solutions out there in the market?
Right. I think especially in the food industry, there's a term called catch weights, where a product can be counted one way and sold and priced by another unit. That's all integrated now into SAP Business One,
right.
from our end. And then we added things like routing, that we can route trucks. We can also integrate to outside systems. That's definitely was very unique for Soft Engine to develop.
Fantastic. Thinking about some of the implementations that you've done in the past, are there any really cool scenarios that stand out in your mind? Some customer stories where customers have generated, really good return on investment, or the software has had a big impact on their business? Without mentioning customer names, of course, maybe you could tell us about some.
Actually, there are published success stories on our website. We're very focused on that because it really helps sales-wise, to get the word out. But we focused on the customer, and there is no question. So the implementation, sometimes, the integration to other systems, we use the B1I tool, the framework that's provided with Business One.
Yes.
And try to truly satisfy the ecosystem. We focused on that, so we have some repetitive sales, too. But clients in success stories, definitely point out how they can grow without, adding additional, overhead. And that's been, I think, really key focus for us.
Okay, so I'm going to drill down in a little bit more detail then, and about the implementation process, if that's okay. What would be the average implementation time for a soft engine solution for apparel?
Great question. And we actually used our methodology also in the sales process.
Okay.
It's very important for the customer to understand what's going to happen. We show them a chart that usually looks at 3 to 4 months implementation. Sometimes in emergencies we had them shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, but we truly make a point that we want to focus on a 3 to 4 months project called the rapid implementation. Sometimes it slips, but again, we don't want to say 6 to 9 months because that becomes a year. So we truly focus on a 3 to 4 months project.
Great. So that rapid implementation methodology, you have the same thing for both apparel and for food?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Sounds good. And then I guess you've been able to enhance that through, doing multiple implementations.
Live and learn, absolutely. And we learn from your mistakes too. So we strongly believe in blueprinting. And one thing that we actually learned is not just setting up the blueprint for signature, but actually spending a day or two with the customer, sitting down and reading every line together.
Right.
Because we found many times clients we just sign off on it,
yes.
and then what? You start implementing. So that was one of from the experience. We actually take a day or two to very closely read through the blueprint.
So you take a day in the life, build the blueprint from that, and then come back and review exactly what went into that blueprint together.
Correct. Right.
Sounds like a great process. Yeah. So Barry, if I wanted to find out more about soft engine solutions, what would your recommendation be?
It starts with our website. It's softengineusa.com.
Sounds pretty easy. Well, I'll look forward to going and having a look at the website and finding out more about your solutions.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.